Thanks for shutting off by yourself. Oh, God. Oh, I hate this tablet. Oh, Jesus. From the WDWL TV multiplex, live from Grumpy Studio, with great anticipation, we bring you the pride of this station, the grumpy old man, me, and the Disco Vulture. Take your bow. Very good, Disco Duck. Back in your corner. Back with your disco lamp. Purchased with station money. Look at the camera. Hey, Kathy's here. Hello. How you doing? I don't know if we'll have Nomad here today. I didn't hear from him at all. So evidently he must be doing that thing called work. It sucks when you have to do that thing called work. Although I've been between being on disability and retirement, it's been so goddamn long I forget what work is. Yeah, God, I've been off 2004. I got put out on disability. And then when I hit 65, they went, "Oh, you're no longer disabled." Really? You're retired. Okay. Is the check the same? Yeah. Okay. I'll take retired. Either way, long as the check's the same, works for me. Yeah. I don't know how you can go from disabled to retired. Makes no sense. Leave it to the government. Well, I appreciate that. I always forget to look. Yeah, I'm lucky enough to look at, my main YouTube page, let alone go into the analytics. And I haven't checked my analytics in ages. I think maybe I'd better do that tomorrow. And then I hear this thing called Social Blade. How the hell do you access that? I know that, like today or last night. Well, today I watched Shiz's stream from last night, and they were showing Kaiser's Social Blade. He lost like 2 million godzillion hours of view time. Oh, yeah. And I can't believe he still has subscribers. People are still hanging into his website. And I guess all the videos are gone. They said all of it is gone. So I don't know who took them down. I don't know if YouTube took them down or... Bedford. As in Ohio? Really? Oh, God. Oh, man. I used to... You saw it. From like the age of 6 years old, my grandfather, every Saturday, would take me to the market. And, oh, my God, And, of course, at 6 years old, the place looks jugundous. And, they referred to him as the mayor of the market. Because if there was something that needed to be done, the city sucked at repairs. And, like if a wall outlet would go out, their scales wouldn't work. And So my grandfather was always fixing shit, and he'd never take a dime from anybody. Well, along comes grandson. Oh, God, the shit that I did. And it was hilarious because every Saturday it was like the first time they ever saw me. Because we'd go to a stand. You know, Kaiser's had a meat stand down at the market. And another Hungarian stand was Lovashi, and let's see, he got pork from Tatalik, and beef from Ernfeld, but it was a riot because we'd come in the market, you know, and he'd walk up to a certain stand, you know, and they'd be, "Hi, Joe, how are you today?" You know, my grandfather. "I have my grandson." And everybody behind the stand would be, "Really? Wait a minute. Here, have a side of beef." You know, I'd like, "Oh, I can't carry that." "That's okay. We'll put it in the car for you," you know. And the smoky stand. Oh, I'll never forget the first time, you know. "Have you ever had Smokies?" "Oh, here, try one." "Oh, boy. You like them? Open your bag. Here's a handful. If you want more, come on back." Every Saturday. "Hey, Novet's here. Hey, buddy. I didn't think you'd be here. I didn't hear from you today, although I figured you were doing that thing like work." "And Peace Dynamo's here. All right. We're up to 74 subscribers. I'm amazed. I am utterly amazed. And all of it is from that wrench. That wrench right there is what's got me to 74 subscribers. His hard work is promoting me everywhere. Yeah, oh, God, the market. I miss the market. Oh. I'm trying to think. All right, you grew up in Bedford. On Broadway. Do you remember the name of the funeral home? It was just up the road from Kaiser's. I can't remember it. There's a little story that goes with it. That's why I can't remember the name of the damn funeral home. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, it was just up the road from Kaiser's, and Kaiser's was on the right side, and the funeral home was on the left side. On Broadway. I'm drawing a blank. Okay, I'll tell a story without knowing the name of the funeral home. When I worked for the limousine service, besides driving limo, a lot of times I would be the hearse driver. And the first time I got sent to this funeral home, I always got there early. Mainly to familiarize myself with the funeral director, how he wanted the procession done, and so on and so forth, and familiar, you know, because we had to park cars, so how he wanted cars parked, and so on. "Jenny's here! All right." So I walk in the funeral home, and there's a newspaper article framed on the wall behind glass. And it gave this address of the original owner of the funeral home. Now, whoever was running it was his son. So I'm reading the article, and the article says, Dad started out, blah, 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 at 2120 West 29th. And I almost shit myself because that was my first house. It was A.J. Stepyansky. And when he passed away, my grandfather bought this little, oh my God, the house was like the size of a shoebox. Little tiny house. And the main reason my grandfather bought it was for the garage, because my grandfather didn't have a garage. So he bought the little house, and then he let me live in it. And I turned to the funeral director and I said, that was my first house. And he said, oh, you're kidding me. I said, no. And then I says to him, who was this? He goes, well, that was my father. Did your father have a church organ in the living room? And he looked at me, how do you know that? I said, because the living room floor has got a big sag in it from the weight of that church organ. He goes, you're right. Anytime I went out to that funeral home, I got treated like family. But I can't remember what the name of, but it was right down the street from Kaiser Meats. So, St. John's, that's it. That's it. Now, it wasn't Ramito's at the time. It was St. John's. And then they combined later on. But when I was originally going there, it was St. John's. That funeral director, he was stunned when I went, that was my first house. And yeah. And what like I say, was the amazing thing is when I told them, I said, yeah, the living room floor had, oh God, the floor sagged something fierce because that organ weighed a ton. So yeah, oh God. But West Side Market, oh. I went there right after the restoration, after the fire. And I was amazed at the restoration because it was like back in the 50s, when just the way I remember it, but sparkling, spotless. They did a hell of a job restoring it. But it too commercial. If I want prepackaged foods, I'll go to my supermarket. Not every stand does fresh slicing. Like if you wanted ground meat, they'd ask you, okay, you want a lot of fat, a little fat, no fat, and then they grind the meat right there for you. Not now. They're big trays, It kind of broke my heart, because it wasn't the market that I remembered it. And when you would come in off of West 25th to the vegetable area, my uncle owned the first vegetable stand as you walked in the door. And then, when my cousin graduated high school, my uncle bought her the fruit stand that was right next to it. Well, every time I would go in there, I'd end up with 500 pounds of vegetables and fruit. But being a kid in that market, especially the smoky stand, but every Saturday, it was like the first time I ever, Every stand owner be, how Joe, how you doing? I'm doing fine. Guess what? I got my grandson. Really? And then they'd call everybody out from the back. Hey, Joe's got his grandson. Oh, good memories. Oh my God, they're just wonderful memories. But the Smoky stand was the favorite because there were a couple of times my grandfather would be bullshitting with one of the stand owners. And I'd tell him, I said, I'll be right back, Grandpa. And I'd go over to the Smoky stand and he'd go, you want more? Hold out your bag. And there was a smoke stand, a smoke and a coffee stand up in the front. And the guy sold newspapers and he sold these custom canvas shopping bags. They were made by Astrup Awning. Well, my grandfather got with, who was it? Johnny. I can't remember Johnny's. Johnny owned the smoke stand. Well, they made me a little custom shopping bag, and they embroidered my name on it. Oh, it was the neatest thing because it was about a third of the size of the regular big ones. And, of course, hold up your bag. Here, have some more Smokies. Don't tell your grandfather. Okay. And then, I'd come walking back and get with Grandpa, and he'd look down and he'd go, oh, you were back at the Smoky stand again? Well, yeah, Grandpa, I like Smokies. Oh, just great memories. Great memories. Hey, no man. Do you know where Van Balen might be over in England? He's got to be over there. He's got the English accent. I was just watching a bunch of his videos. And I'll tell you what, he does a hell of a job. Not to mention, he must be online 24/7. Because when a new video comes out, bang, he beats everybody to posting it. Oh, my God. But I love listening to him do a little narration. Of course, I love the British accent. I really do. And the Aussie. Oh, I love the Aussie accent, too. Yeah, today I watched about 25 pursuit videos. And about 8 of them were these idiots who, their pants hang halfway down their ass. And I loved it because when they bail out of the car and start to run, the pants are dropping lower and lower and lower, and the next thing you know, they get around their knees and they trip and they fall on their face. And one, they cuffed him, they did a tertiary search, and they're walking him back to the car because he ran out in the middle of a field. And he's saying, pull my pants up, pull my pants up. Well, you know what? If you owned a fucking belt, your pants wouldn't have fallen down. And they walked him all the way back to the police cruiser with his pants down around his ankles. I don't know what rapper started this shit back in, I think, the 90s with his pants around it, halfway down his ass. But, I watched these videos today, and then I had to run up to the store. Because I was out of buns. I bought a big family pack of hot dogs. And I don't like buying 2-3 packs of buns because they go stale. So I had to go up and get buns, and I walk over in the condiment section, and they have this, anytime they get a new product, well, whatever this company was, mustard, 12-ounce bottle of mustard, deli style or spicy brown, 85 cents. I took my glasses off and I wiped them, and I said, I can't be, because goddamn bottle of mustard is $3.50, $4. I was like, 89 cents. I don't need that much mustard, but one of each in the basket. So he must not have any hips. The only thing I can say. Must not have any hips. Must be straight up and down. But, first of all, they have these things called tape measures. You put it around your waist, and it tells you what size waist you have. Then, when you buy pants, if your waist is 32, you don't buy a 36 or a 38 or a 40. Second of all, they make these things called belts. And if your pants won't get held up by a belt, they make these things called suspenders. I used to wear suspenders all the time. Matter of fact, somewhere I got a friend of mine, his uncle was a leather worker. He made me leather suspenders. I'll never forget, he told me, I made you some leather suspenders. I said, lederhosen. He said, no, leather suspenders. I was like, oh, okay. I'll wear the suspenders. I ain't wearing no fucking lederhosen. So, I watched the videos. I get to the cash register, and I'm in line. And I happen to fucking glance down. And here's this teenage black kid with his pants hanging halfway down his ass. So, Grumpy. Always looking for a fight. So, he kind of turned and looked at me and had that look on his face like, oh, fuck, look at him. And I said, could you do me a favor? I don't know, bro. Could you pull your fucking pants up? I don't want to see your goddamn Calvin Klein underwear. I said, well, either pull your pants up, or I'm going to give you such a wedgie, your balls are going to be in your throat, and you'll need to see a goddamn EMT to get your balls back where they belong. Next thing you know, up come the pants. I wanted to give him a wedgie, though. Oh, I'd have yanked them goddamn things up and tied them around his neck. Then he'd have been like, I can't keep my mouth shut. And in Ohio, they passed concealed carry law. You can carry. You don't need a permit no more. And, my little sister keeps telling me, one of these days, you're going to open your mouth and somebody's going to have a 38. And I said, well, that's okay because I have a 9. Be the gunfight at the OK Corral. And yes, I carry. Except in the stores that have that circle with the... then I have to put it in I got a little gun safe I tuck under the seat. But, yeah. I have a nice shoulder holster. You can't see it. And a laser sight. And I also have fiber optic sights on top of the gun. Oh, they draw the light in. Man, I could draw a bead with that. And my laser light is green. Like you didn't know that was coming. Yeah, I have a green laser light. I don't know red. No, everybody got red. A lot of people got blue. I paid the extra $8 and got the green. I don't know why green is always an additional charge. Anytime you get something with an LED or a laser, if it's green, it's more money. And I sat here one day dialing that thing in, and I drove my cat crazy. He was jumping up and down the wall. Finally, I had it on the floor. Here, play. Yeah, because I had to dial it in on the wall with the sights. There we go. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I knew when the law was going to go into effect. It was like June 13th of 2022, I think. It was June 13th, I know that. Well, I needed a new piece because I didn't have no automatics. Well, yes, I did. I got a 25, but you need something with a little more meat. So I went out to talk about a stupid name for a sporting goods shop, Fin, Fur, and Feather. And I said, the guy went, "Can I help you?" "Yeah. I'm here to buy a 9. "Well, which one?" "The one that's on sale." "Oh, hold on. You mean this one?" "Yeah. Let me see how it feels." "Nice. I'll take it." "Driver's license?" "Yeah." "Hold on while you go back and do your state, federal check. If I'm approved, it'll be up at the cash register." "Well, how am I going to know?" "Oh, they'll call my name." "Okay. I'll wander around and look." So I wandered around. I went, "Oh, ammo's on sale. I'll take 2 boxes." I no sooner get to the cash up the front. "Grumpy old man, come on over here. How you paying? Cash, check, credit?" "Credit." "Approved. Sign here with a finger." "Oh, here you go. Enjoy your shooting." "I will." And I had it at home a week and a half, playing with it. I put the laser on. I put the fiber optic sights on the top and dialed everything in. And then come June 13th, in the shoulder holster it went. And it goes with me like a second friend. But I'm safe. Although they tell me I'm doing it wrong. I don't chamber one. They said in that time it takes you to chamber one, I'd rather be safe than sorry. Oh, the looks I get. Like if I walk into Dollar Tree, people are like, Whoa. They follow me around, you know. The new store employees. And then the manager, he'll go, hey, he's okay. It's amazing how many stores you can carry in. Very few give you that. Family Dollar, not allowed. That's another reason I don't go in there too often. But yeah, Family Dollar. And my corner, whatever it is, store. The one I went to today for the buns. Well, you could. But then there was this dumbass woman one day gets into an argument with the girl behind the service desk, and she pulled her piece out. Ever since then, they hired security, and they got that big circle with the line through it. So I have to put it in the safe. But otherwise, I got it all the time. Oh, all the time. Although for years, I had my little 25 automatic. A Raven Arms, stainless steel. I bought that thing like back in the early 80s. And it makes a nice little pocket piece. It's small enough. I would drop it in my pocket. Be my, you know, everybody's going to say, one of these days. It was small enough. Either that, or I clipped the holster inside my boot, because I used to wear cowboy boots all the time. But I had it all the time. I still have it. I just, now that I got a little more power, it's locked in the cabinet. I'm telling all my secrets. Now I'll get banned from YouTube now. But yeah, I like my shoulder holster. Plus, if I got a jacket on, you can't tell. But I all the time. Hey, I don't care. Spring, fall, winter, summer. I enjoy the looks I get when I walk in the store. Well, Jenny, I would. But I don't want to get in trouble. Because it'd be my luck. They call the police. And the police say, hey, it says right there, pal. And I just don't need the bullshit. It'd be my luck they'd take it away from me. Yeah, especially the shopping plaza where it's at. They've had several carjackings up there. Although nobody want my shitbox anyway. Plus, what kid today knows how to drive a manual? But yeah. It used to be such a nice plaza back in the day. And it was to the point where you knew every store owner. You were on a first name basis with everybody. Now it's like a ghost town because half of the damn stores are empty. And then half the lighting don't work at night. So, yeah, they had 5 or 6 carjackings up there this year so far. So, I make sure that I'm packing. I'd love somebody to come up and try to carjack me. I'd be like, you want to change your mind, buddy? Uh-huh. Walk away slowly. Back away. That's even better. Yeah, I'm pretty quick on the draw for an old bastard. Took me quite a while to get that shoulder holster broke in. Not so much with the piece, the damn laser sight, because at the bottom of the holster the leather was kind of tight. So I had to. I can't remember what I stuffed in the bottom of that holster. I think a big socket from my socket set. Kind of stretched the leather enough to. Now it works perfect. Oh, back when I was a kid, of course, the rule of thumb, be home when the street lights come on. We'd leave the house in the morning and you'd be gone all day. It was a different time back then. I can remember, get up in the morning, get dressed, shovel down breakfast, and then gone. Although, at the end of our street was a big woods, and there were trails and paths, and we'd go back there and ride our bikes and play cow people and Indians, As a matter of fact, I'm going to really show my age. I watched them build Interstate 71 because they went right through that field. They tore it all down. And when they paved the first lane, I tried it out with my go-kart and almost got caught. Yeah, I tell kids around here, like, I watched them build that freeway with big earth movers and everything, and they're like, wow, you're fucking old, you're ancient. You sat outside with a candle and watched them? Yeah. Yeah, the horses pulled the earth movers, And then I would say maybe from my house, a 5-minute walk, they hit a big shale pit. And the Museum of Natural History came out, and they were digging in the shale pit. And you should see some of the fossils, because they said back in prehistoric days, there was a big prehistoric lake right here. And some of the fossils that they pulled out, holy yutchafuck. It was, I'll tell you what, when they built that freeway, it was interesting. But telling kids I watched them build it, they're like, oh, really? Yeah, we would take our lawn chairs and go down to the edge and watch them big-ass earth movers slowly digging away, big bulldozers coming down. It was amazing. I had a couple of fossils, moving and all that shit. I had some small little fish. What they would do is if they had a fossil that either they had a shitload of them or it wasn't really worth it, they give them to us kids. And I had a small little fish and what the hell was that thing? Some goofy sea creature. Matter of fact, the relative of this little creature is still in the ocean. Troglodyte or something. Looked like a giant bug. I had them for years and they got lost. But I remember the one time I had free passes to the Natural History Museum. And they had all this shit on display. And I'm standing there. And I'm pointing to stuff going, I remember when they dug that up. People are looking at me like, what? I said, yeah, I can tell you exactly where it came from. And then they were like, well, where? I said, well, if you go down to West 130th and I-71, underneath the bridge where the freeway is was the fossil pit. And people are like, oh, yeah, all right. And then one of the employees from the museum was like, yeah, he's right. That's where these came from. One for Grumpy. It was neat growing up in this area. Oh, yeah. But now it's all changed. Like I say, it's not the neighborhood I grew up in anymore. It's sad. It really is. But, like they say, you can never go back. You have the memories. But, yeah, when they were digging, as a matter of fact, when they hit that shale pit and the museum come out to dig, they stopped construction on that side of the freeway so that the museum could dig. And I can't remember whether it was a week or 2 weeks. They had tents out, like you see on TV, They carry the fossils in and people be with little picks and cleaning them, and it was cool. It was a neat history lesson, I'll tell you that. To think at one time there were fucking dinosaurs walking down my street, Well, there was no street here, but hey, Wyatt's here. How you doing, buddy? Glad you could stop in. Who we missing? Mears. We're missing Mears from the land down under. We were talking about accents. Yeah, I'll tell you what. When I went to the store, all those videos were the farthest thing from my mind. And here's this asshole standing in front of me with his Calvin Kleins hanging out. I wanted to give him a wedgie. Oh, I wanted to give him I wish he wouldn't have pulled his pants up. He'd have still been screaming. Get my nuts out of my neck! Because I can give some good wedgies. He'd have needed a proctologist to get his Calvin Kleins out of his rectum, I'll tell you that. You know, what goes through their fucking mind? They think they think people want to see their goddamn underwear. It's disgusting. And, you know, it started like back in the 90s. You'd think that fad would have died by now. But no, you know, these rappers still got to hang their ass out. So the kids are like, ooh. I'll be wearing my Air Jordans with my ass hanging out. But I couldn't believe it. Because I wasn't paying attention, you know. I'm standing in line, I got my basket, and I just happened to look down. I was like, oh, Jesus. Then he gave me a bunch of shit. Pull your pants up. Every cuss word in the book. And I told him, I said, well, you got a choice. Pull your pants up or get ready for the nastiest wedgie you ever saw. I could guarantee he no sooner got out of the store and yanked his pants back down. But at least for 5 minutes, I got him to pull his pants up. And see, when they go to school, the teachers can't say anything because it's against their rights. You're infringing on my rights. I have the right to wear my pants hanging down past my ass. Back in the day, I can remember the assistant principal. If you didn't have a belt, he warmed your ass and reminded you, with all three of them fucking swats, to wear a belt. But see, they did away with all that shit. No corporal punishment, so these kids know they can get away with murder. Not to mention, you know, if a teacher puts a finger on them, I'm calling, you're in trouble, you're losing your job, you touched me. I remember back in high school, teacher'd slam you up against the locker if you got out of line. Or put you in the locker. And then slam the door. Yeah, it was nice this morning seeing 74 subscribers. We're getting closer to that 100. And Nomad, it's all his hard work. He drops links like people drop pennies, you know. Here, have a link. That's the way he is. Gets in a chat. Here, have a link. Oh, okay. Were you in Stone Vet's chat earlier today? I was looking for you. I didn't stay around too long. He's on that some tirade again against some YouTuber. So I didn't stick around too long. I pop in long enough to say hi, he'll say hi back. Then I slowly slink away. Plus I check to see if he's using the microphone I gave him. That blue microphone that he's got, it's a Blue Yeti Nano. When his mic went bad, I sent that to him. Because it was one of the microphones I had, you know, my buddy's wife gave me. She said, take them. So one day he was Oh, he was having a tough time. His mic kept going in and out and in and out and in and out. So I messaged him. I said, do you need a microphone? He goes, yeah, evidently. I said, well, give me your address. I'll send you one. He didn't believe me at first. And then about a week later, he was like, hey, guess what I got? And he holds it up. I said, good, don't break it. So yeah, like the one day he was testing a lavalier microphone out. I was like, did you break that Blue Yeti? He goes, no, I'm trying this one out. I said, oh, okay. Although I got enough microphones, I'd send him another one. Good. I appreciate it. The more links, the more subscribers. And it's working. Oh my God. To think, I was like landlocked at 63. I was like, oh, geez. Although I was landlocked at 30 for months. And I know who number 30 is, too. One of the kids from the neighborhood. He's a teacher right now. Well, the gold one is over in the other. That's an XLR mic. It's over in the other studio with all the mixer and the interface. And one of these days, just for old time's sake, I'm going to have to do a show from over on the other side. Yeah, my golden microphone. I got that. I don't know if anybody ever listened to Rush Limbaugh. Well, he hit a certain anniversary, and they awarded him a golden microphone. And that was his spiel. You know, every day when he come on the radio, broadcasting from my golden microphone. So when I learned about microphones and mixers and all that shit, going on eBay, I was like, oh, look, I can get a golden microphone. And I ordered one, and I did the same thing, broadcasting with my golden microphone. Yeah, I got it. You know, I haven't used that studio in eons. So I got to make sure everything still works. And then one day I'll surprise everybody and do a show from over on the other side. Studio One. The mixer's probably got about that much dust on it. I haven't been over there and, well, it's so easy with these USB microphones. You don't need a mixer, you don't need an interface, you just plug it into the computer. And I'm like, with Prism, you find the microphone, you click on it, it locks it in. Same thing. The camera, once you set the camera, it's locked in. I got cameras up to yin-yang. Matter of fact, a friend of mine dropped it's kind of an older style Logitech camera. It works nice, but I'm not going to mess with this one. This one's dialed in. If anything goes wrong, I got backup cameras. Plus, I've got one, it's an AI camera. And it's supposed to follow you. It don't work on Prism. Prism will, when you go to cameras, it don't even show. I don't know what it is about AI cameras and Prism, but I can't use it. I tried it out over in Studio One once, and yeah, every time I moved, the damn camera moved, it followed me around. But it was kind of a pain in the ass. I went back to my Logitech. I'll tell you what, Logitech makes some kick-ass cameras. They really do. This one is, what the hell's the model on it? I think it's a C920. Yeah, it's a C920. I bought it off of eBay, open box. I got it for like $15, $16. It's a kick-ass camera. Matter of fact, I got two. I liked it so much I bought a backup. But the goofy thing is, they're both C920s. They were both made in 2024. When one comes on, it's got blue lights. When the other one turns on, it's got white lights. I don't know why they went from white to blue. They're both C920s. They were both made in 2024. I don't know. Maybe they changed production or something. But like it makes a difference. It just tells me the camera's on. How far back did you go, Kathy? Did you go back to the days when I was sitting in the lawn chair? Because there's videos of my shitbox truck and my RAV4 when I was working on the fog lights. See Grumpy standing in shorts. Oh, there's a set of legs you don't want to look at. Yeah, the old videos are me in a lawn chair in the backyard with a GoPro. And my neighbors thought I was nuts, sitting in a chair talking to a camera. I said, I'm going to upload it on YouTube. What's a YouTube? Never mind. If I had to explain it, you don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, the original days of the golden mic. I've got two. Two golden microphones. I can't remember how I got the second one. Oh, my buddy's grandson, the one that taught me about mixers and microphones, when he upgraded, he gave me his golden mic. He said, here. So I got two. But they're, like I say, XLR mics. And you got to plug them into a mixer because they're powered by 48 volts. Yeah, my original YouTube videos, they're kind of embarrassing. Although I did the same thing. Whatever come to mind, that's what I talked about. I can't remember if I filmed my giant tomato plant. I can't remember if I got I'll have to look. I had a tomato plant. Matter of fact, it was the yellow tomatoes. They were about the size of a giant marble. This plant grew and grew and grew and grew. And I had to make sticks for it. It grew up to the gutter of the house and it started up the roof. It was gigantic. And man, the tomatoes, I must have got 5,000 tomatoes off of it. I have never in my life had a tomato plant that went berserk. And I didn't put no fertilizer on it. I don't believe in that. I make my own mixed soil. I'll get topsoil, peat moss, humus, and then there's a place where I get shredded leaves. They shred them down to, and I pour all of that in a big garbage can, and I mix it, and I pour it in the garden. And usually I get good results, but that tomato plant was like Jack and the Beanstalk. It just kept going and going and going. I took pictures of it. I think I did a YouTube video of it. The giant tomatoes. Jack and the Beanstalk. Grumpy's Jack and the Beanstalk. Because nobody believed it. My neighbors, they'd be sneaking up the driveway going, holy shit! Because it went over the gutter and started up the roof. I was waiting for it to go up and come down the other side. That tomato plant just grew like crazy. And the tomatoes were delicious. I'm not one, unless it's a sandwich, I'm not one for just popping a tomato in my mouth. You know, I cut it up in salad. Those tomatoes, I was picking them off the vine and eating them. They were so good, like eating candy. But they were yellow, no acid tomatoes, but they were about that big. And when I went back to the nursery where I bought it, they didn't believe me. I said, all right, I'm going to go take a picture of it, and I'll come back at the end of the week or something. And when I showed the owner of the nursery, he was like, what did you put on it? I said, nothing. I just planted it in my mixed soil and watered it, and it went berserk. I was really hoping it'd go up the roof, but the roof got too hot. So it only grew so far. But it went over the gutter, and it was about 3 feet up the roof. My Jack and the Beanstalk tomato. That was the year I grew. The peppers were called Black Diamonds. And they were so dark brown, they almost looked black. And when people see them on the vine, they're like, oh, Grumpy, you got rotten peppers. I said, no. Those were sweet as sugar. Black Diamonds. They're heirloom. Oh, my God. I've never had a pepper like that. It was like eating peppers dipped in sugar. They were so good. And then I love to get heirloom tomatoes. And people don't like heirlooms because they're kind of ugly. And I got an heirloom called a Mr. Stripey. They're red and yellow. They got red and yellow stripes. Oh, God. Meaty for sandwiches. Oh. But we have one nursery that has a big section of heirloom tomatoes and peppers. I like buying them. There was another one I bought. It was a brown pepper. They call it a chocolate pepper. I made stuffed peppers out of them. Oh, my God. But see, my landlord won't let me plant a garden here. I don't know why. I told him, you know, all I need is a little patch. No gardens. No. I never see him. I don't know why the hell he's... But be my luck, he'd show up one day and went, hey, I told you, no garden. I tried growing them in big pots. And they got maybe 2 foot tall. And we've got raccoons and possums running around the neighborhood, and they ate my fucking plants. That was like one year I grew not asparagus, Brussels sprouts. And they were almost ready for picking. And then a couple doors down, in the neighbor's backyard, there was a groundhog. That fucking groundhog come over here and ate every one of my goddamn Brussels sprouts. All I had was a stem. I haven't grown Brussels sprouts since. I'll buy them in a store. But my other house, I used to have a nice garden. I planted, mainly tomatoes, all different varieties of peppers. I used to get cayennes, and then I would dry them and crush them. I've got a bean grinder for coffee beans. When I dry the hot peppers, I put them in the bean grinder and then put them in a shaker jar. Great and chili. But, people look at heirloom tomatoes, and some of them are really ugly when they grow. They're hideous looking. But I'll tell you what, you want any tomato or pepper that has an excellent taste, grow an heirloom every time. And they're basically, throwback to the pioneers. But they're Mr. Stripey's. If you ever want to grow tomatoes, look for Mr. Stripey. It's a patented name. And usually, now, I don't know if they grow everywhere. I would tend to think one tomato plant's going to grow anywhere. But Black Diamonds and Mr. Stripey's, they're the ugliest tomatoes on earth, a black tomato. And believe me, the first time I sliced it, I was like, oh, this don't look too good, because it looks rotten. Oh, God. Sweet as sugar. And meaty. They look hideous on a sandwich. Make a nice ham sandwich and put them ugly looking, rotten looking black tomatoes on a sandwich. But I'll tell you one thing, people don't steal your sandwich. I never had it. I tried them once. I bought the containers, and the goddamn tomatoes never grew. Those, as seen on TV, Yeah, on TV they look cool. Growing upside down, didn't work. I'll fall for anything once. But them upside down tomatoes, they didn't grow for me. Although I have grown tomatoes in hanging baskets. No, peppers. Not tomato plants, peppers. They work pretty nice. Put one pepper plant in a hanging basket. I've tried everything. I remember couple of summers, my buddy worked at a warehouse and he brought me some of them plastic 55-gallon drums. I cut them off about 18 inches high, grew tomatoes in them. I'll try anything once. Although I could probably grow tomatoes that way here, because if my landlord showed up, I'd say, well, they're not in the ground. They're in containers. But yeah, it was hilarious because when I had my house, I had a nice big front porch and an awning. So I grew peppers, hung them on my front porch. My neighbors are like, when are them flowers going to bloom? They're not flowers, they're peppers. What? Yeah, they're green peppers, ugly chocolate peppers, heirloom peppers. There was another pepper. It never turned. All right. Come on, Grumpy. No, they were tomatoes. They were an heirloom tomato that never turned red. They were green. And it was a bitch trying to figure out when they were ripe. Because they'd start out green and they stayed green. But they were good. Any heirloom, whether it be a pepper or a tomato, any heirloom, they're outstanding. And people don't like them because they're not beautiful, like a Beefmaster. Oh. Give me a good flavored, ugly tomato any day. But look for Black Diamonds or Mr. Stripeys. And if they don't have Black Diamond, ask them, do you have black tomatoes? Because some of the heirlooms are all different names. So you might have something by a different name, but just ask them. I'm looking for a black tomato or a chocolate pepper. If they're in the heirlooms at the nursery, they'll know what you're talking about. But see, a lot of them don't carry them because the younger generation, they won't grow that stuff. They're like, a black tomato. Bleh. I grow for taste. I don't care what they look like. Oh, my neighbor used to make them. Julie, the one that passed away from COVID. Oop. You're not supposed to say that word. Yeah, she would tell me, give me all your green tomatoes. And then she'd come over with a big cake pan. Nothing better than a fried green tomato. Oh, now you're making me think of Julie. Oh my God, I miss her. My smoking buddy. Pull in the driveway, blow the horn, beep beep. If it was cold, she'd have the seat heater on for me. We'd sit there, talk and smoke cigarettes. Memories. I had great memories from years, except the 4 divorces. We don't want to talk about them. But otherwise, all the cars that I owned back in the day, oh my God. I remember one year, the city of Cleveland was just about fucking bankrupt. And a couple of my buddies, they didn't want to send their police cruisers down to the city garage because they wouldn't see them. And they needed brakes. So they bought brake pads and rotors. And they come over the house and, how fast can you put front brakes on for us? I was like, I don't know, an hour. All right. They'd make a call to the dispatcher and say, hey, we're going to be out for an hour. Put fucking brakes on a goddamn Cleveland police car. You know it's sad when the officers have to buy the fucking parts out of their pocket to keep a police car on the road. But that's how bad the city was financially. They couldn't afford to buy parts. So yeah, it was nothing to see a couple of police cars parked in the driveway up on shacks. They're like, all the neighbors are like, what the hell's going on down at Grumpy's house? Oh, he's doing a brake job on a police cruiser. And they're like, what? Yep. Yeah, some strange shit over the years. But like they say, when you get old, all you got is your memories, as long as you have a memory. But my memories of the West Side Market, oh, Jesus. But one of these days, I got to take a ride out to Kaiser Meats. Get me some good ethnic Hungarian food. But see, from where I'm at to Broadway in Bedford is like 25 miles. And I hate driving on 480. They're like idiots out there in the freeway. And Kathy knows right where I'm talking about. How far away from Kaiser Meats did you live? Or did you just know it from living in Bedford? God, talk about a small goddamn world. How many people would be in my chat and know Kaiser Meats on Bedford and St. John's Funeral Home? The wonders of the internet. Unreal. Unreal. What would be to be sitting here? What would be the fucking chance of this happening? I'm blown away. I'm blown away. I'm almost speechless. Really? Unbelievable. What year was that? We'll see if I drove past her house with a hearse. That idiot driving past your house with a hearse was me. Maybe I turned around in your driveway. Whoop, missed my turn. I'll pull in this driveway, and everybody's like, whoa! All the neighbors calling one of the, hey, a hearse pulled in down the street. What is that? Oh no. In the 60s, I was still watching them build the fucking freeway. I'm not that old. Yeah, in the 60s, they were building the freeway over here. figure, well, 1961, I'd have been 10 years old. I was born in 51, November 1st. Mark it on your calendar. Send me a birthday present. November 1st. I was supposed to be born on Halloween, and I didn't want to come out. I was like, nope. I know it's trick or treat. That would have been a cool birthday, Halloween. And then, if anybody's Catholic, you'll know what November 1st is. All Saints' Day. That ain't happening here. I haven't been inside a Catholic church probably 40 years. And my cousin was a priest. Although he was in Washington, D.C. I can't remember what parish. He was. Then he retired to a priest retirement home out in Texas. I didn't know they had retirement homes for priests, but yeah, that's where he ended up, out in Texas. Because they passed away out there. And then the family, well, his brothers and nieces and nephews, they shipped him back here to Ohio and buried him with his parents. And you'll never guess what cemetery, Kathy. You remember Calvary? The big, huge cemetery over on the east side. The cemetery, every time I go in my grandparents' grave, I get lost. Now what I do, I stop at the office and they escort me back. I get lost in that place every time I'm in there. Good old Calvary. Gotta be 300 acres, Jesus. And you know, it's actually an easy set of graves to find. Because you come in and you drive past the office, and at the first intersection, you make a left, and you go about 200 feet, maybe 3, and the graves are right there. Me, I pull in, go past the office, go down about 5 roads. So now I just stop at the office. Can you take me back to section such and such? And the guy's like, come on, follow me. And I'm like, why didn't I remember that? Although I only go out once a year. I go out on Memorial Day every year. Take my flowers, take my weed whacker, my blower, good old Ryobi 18-volt power tools. Take the weed whacker, clean the headstones, take the blower, blow it all out. And then it's nice until, well, they really don't maintain headstones too well out there. God, I forgot. And then on the way back from Calvary, you probably wouldn't know this one. I stop at West Park Cemetery off of Clinton and Ridge. And by the time I get there, my little sister has my father's headstone all clean. Yeah, she goes out she goes out with hand trimmers and little shovels. And matter of fact, last year she put stones all around it. Them white marbly stones. I says to her, I said, did you ask the cemetery if you could do that? They said yes. He's in the military section. My mother took advantage of the free grave for veterans. The only thing they give you. Well, and a headstone. But that drive to Calvary, the last time I went out there was road construction. It took me forever to get out there. God, what is what's the population of the frickin' earth? And I get someone in my chat that knows exactly what I'm talking about because they've been there. Unbelievable. I'm still in awe. I really am. I'm in awe. Talk about small world. Unreal. Unreal. Because, like Nomad's going, I'm over here in England. What the hell's he talking about? Here I mentioned something. Kathy's like, I know where it's at. I live down the street from that store. Unbelievable. I mean, like with the inception of Faceplant, I've connected with a lot of my high school friends. And, I never thought twice about it. You go on Facebook, next thing you know, you get a message on your page like, wow. What is the chance I have a YouTube channel? I get somebody on the channel that knows everything. Oh, God. Reardon's Bakery. I forgot all about that place. Oh, Jesus. I forgot all about that place. Oh, that was God, there's another memory. Holy shit. I really did. I forgot all about that place. Unbelievable. Well, where there's food, there's grumpy. And where there's good food, yeah. I haven't thought about that place in probably 40 years. Wow. Got any more surprises for me, Kathy? This is a shocker. I'm freaking speechless. Well, see, I had a shoe repair shop over here up the street, so that one, I didn't even know about that place. Because up in the plaza, where, as a matter of fact, the shoe repair place used to be right next to where Family Dollar is, was owned by a little Italian guy. Bajoda was his name. Louis Bajoda. And nobody could pronounce his name because Italian names aren't spelled the way they look. And having an uncle that was Italian, because the one day I went in there to get a pair of loafers soled and healed, I still have them fucking loafers. Mainly because I can't wear them anymore. Because with the broken toe. But I walked in and I said, "Hey, Mr. Bajoda, can you fix these shoes?" And he looked at me. "How do you know my name? Somebody tell you?" "No, it's on the door." "Yeah, but you pronounce it right." "Isn't that how you pronounce it?" Jenny going to play trivia? Have a great night, Jenny. Glad you stopped in. I appreciate it. Have fun playing trivia. Oh, Kathy, I'm going to be thinking about this all night. I am just blown away. And it takes a lot to make me speechless, but I am tonight. Unbelievable. Utterly unbelievable. Oh, is it that time already? Oh, wow. Getting close to dinner time. Good thing you reminded me. I'd gone on for 3 more hours at the rate I'm going with you. Oh, with Kathy here. Jesus Christ. My mind is cranking. It really is. My head hurts. I'm in shock. I'm in utter shock. Holy shit. What? I'm going to be saying that all night. What is the chance a gazillion people on Earth? I have this little dinky YouTube channel, and here's a follower that lived down the street from the goddamn meat store I went to. Holy... I can't wait to tell my sister. She ain't gonna believe this. Wow. That's all I can say. Wow. I am just amazed. The wonders of the goddamn internet. And, you know, it's not like this channel's got a couple 100,000 subscribers, too. Unbelievable. I'm fried. My brain is fried. Talk about small world. I could see somebody going, well, I'm sort of kind of familiar with the area. I've heard of that once before. Here, Kathy lived down the street from. Not only knew the meat store, knew the goddamn funeral home that I went to. I'm almost as shocked as the day I was reading that newspaper article. And he walks up behind me and goes, what? I said, that was my first house. And he didn't believe me until I told him about the big sag in the living room floor. It was a riot. You could put a ball on one end of the living room, and it would just automatically roll downhill to that, because that organ that he had was huge. I mean, the corner of the living room, probably from the wall, I would easily say 5 foot out from the wall, and 4 foot out this way, the floor was just sag. And my grandfather was like, yeah, I ain't gonna fix that. Put a couch over it. And I did. That's where the couch sat. Because you didn't dare put an end table there for fear it would tip over. But yeah, he was amazed that was my first house. And I told him, I said, my grandfather lived next, they were buddies. And when he passed away, my grandfather begged him, sell me this house. And he bought it for the garage because he lived right next door. And he had 2 cars stolen because he had to park on the street. So when Stupionski passed away, he bought the house for the garage. And then when I lived there, I had to park on the street. But yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. The old stone church with that big monster. Is it the old stone church? I've seen that organ. Oh, because at noon they used to play a lot. And you could hear the music. I can't remember how old that. It's ancient. It's ancient. Because if I remember right, that organ was in another church at one time. And then they bought that organ and moved it to where it's at. Yeah, I think it was, I can't remember. It wasn't in Ohio. I want to say out west somewhere. Idaho, Oregon. But they were tearing down the church because they were putting a freeway through or something. So they bought it and they took it apart piece by piece by piece by piece. And then piece by piece by piece by piece. And then they had to tune each one of the pipes. That's an art in itself. Tuning them goddamn pipes. Let's say I used to work downtown. Well, if you know downtown Cleveland, if you come down Ontario, where the church is on the square in Ontario, you take Ontario to Lakeside. I was on the building on the corner of West 3rd and Lakeside, across the street from where the Justice Center is now. That's where I worked. And then every day at lunchtime, me and a bunch of friends, we'd walk up to the square and we'd go in Peterson's and get some fresh roasted nuts and walk around the square, listen to the organ music, keep your fingers crossed that there was a cigarette rep giving out cigarette samples. Yeah, I went up to the square every day at lunchtime because I'd go into Higbee's and May Company, go into Higbee's, go downstairs, get a Frosty. Oh, yeah. I have not been downtown since they redid Public Square. Because they kind of screwed it up when they and that's probably 40 years ago. I still call it the Terminal Tower, not Tower City. I still remember the old Union Terminal, the old train station that was in the basement. Oh yeah, I could talk about where I've been and worked for hours. But yeah, that organ. I cannot imagine putting that together one piece at a time. And then maintaining it over the years, because you got to, the reeds dry out in the pipes and they got to, you have to maintain them things like almost daily. From the big goddamn pipes to the littlest one. Oh man, memory time. Kathy, you amaze me. I'm in shock. I'm literally in shock. Unbelievable. Jeez. I think it's outro time. I think it's time to make dinner. Oh. I did have something story time. Everybody's got to remember MASH. All right? And you remember Klinger? And he would always mention Tony Pacos. Well, Klinger grew up in Toledo. And Tony Pacos was a restaurant, plus they made their own hot dogs. And Tony Pacos, I've had their hot dogs. Oh, they're to die for. But Klinger put Tony Pacos on the map. He made them famous because it was just a little restaurant in Toledo. Today, at my little store, where I go, I'm walking down the aisle. And what do I spot? Tony Pacos hot dog sauce. I almost fell over. So I bought a can. I'm going to make chili dogs tonight. I get to the cash register, and the girl's ringing out, and I said, "You see that little can?" She goes, "Yeah." "You see the name on that can?" Now, evidently she's watched MASH in reruns because she went, "Tony Paco's." I said, "You know Tony?" She goes, "From MASH." I think I wet myself. A young girl knew about Tony Paco, and she's rattling off. She goes, "They got a restaurant in Toledo." Yes! I couldn't believe I saw that can. Tony Paco's. I thought, what? So I'll let you know how the hot dog chili is tomorrow, because that's going to be on my hot dogs tonight. But Tony Paco's and Klinger basically made them known worldwide. And that small little restaurant, that cafe, was not ready for the influx of people that had to go there just to see the place. I remember reading newspaper articles, people standing in line just to go in and get a hot dog at Tony Paco's because it was on MASH. I don't know if Klinger ever stopped home and went in Tony Paco's and they were like, "Man, did you create a worldwide sensation." But people thought, as a matter of fact, if you go into your history on MASH, that wasn't in the script. He just blurted that out one day. And they were like, "What's this Tony Paco's shit here?" And then he told them. He goes, "It's a little cafe and hot dog. They make their own hot dogs. From my childhood, I grew up there." And then the producers and the writers of MASH actually flew into Ohio to see what Klinger was talking about. So they kept writing it in the script. And that's the Tony Paco's world famous due to Klinger just blurting it out, and they didn't cut it. He blurted, "Tony Paco's," and they left it in because they thought he just invented the name. And then when he told the writers and producers, he goes, they flew into Ohio because they were doing a history on MASH. And they were showing the pictures, the producers and the writers standing there with the owners. Unbelievable. So I get my shock seeing Tony Paco's hot dog chili, and then I really get a shock from Kathy tonight. You made my day. You made my week. You made my year. Unbelievable. I'm going to keep saying that all day. Unbelievable. I'll be awake all night. God, crazy. I don't know how we're going to top this. This should have been the 100th subscriber show. Because I don't know how I'm going to top it when we hit 100 subscribers. Unless you pull something else off the wall. Oh my God. Between the Kaiser meats and the bakery, you're amazing, Kathy. You're just amazing. I'm in shock. I'm just shocked. Let's see if we can play the outro without the goddamn tablet acting up tonight. Oh, for a minute I didn't think it was going to play. Nowhere, right here, WDWL TV at 7 p.m. And we will meet again here tomorrow night and watch Kathy blow me away with something tomorrow. And with that, friends, I hope everybody has a good rest of your day, evening, afternoon. And we will meet again tomorrow night.